and good morning. You're watching Doordarshan News and this is the news for hearing impaired. I am Nancy Kohli and with me is Manisha. Let's begin with the headlines. Prime Minister Modi to participate in the Virtual Vesak Global Celebrations and deliver a keynote address today on the occasion of Buddha Purnima. The program is being organized in honor of the victims and frontline warriors of COVID-19. India to begin the biggest evacuation exercise Vande Bharat Mission from today. Around 15,000 Indians stranded abroad to be brought back. 64 flights and 3 naval ships to ferry the Indian citizens back from 13 countries in a week's time. Only asymptomatic passengers allowed to travel. Security forces gunned down dreaded Hizbul terrorist Riaz Naiku along with his aide in an encounter in the Begipura in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir. 2 more terrorists killed by security forces in Sharshali Crew in Avantipura. (14,182) COVID-19 patients cured and discharged in India. The recovery rate stands at 28.72%. The total active cases of COVID-19 rise to 33,514. The death toll due to pandemic reaches 1,694. Maharashtra and Gujarat remain the worst affected states. The COVID-19 cases across the world rise over 37 lakh with over 2,63,000 deaths reported so far. US President Donald Trump describes the COVID-19 pandemic as the worst attack ever on the US with more than 73,000 deaths in the country so far. The death toll in the UK crosses the 30,000 mark. Our top story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be participating in the Buddha Purnima celebrations today. The Ministry of Culture, in collaboration with the International Buddhist Confederation, IBC, a global Buddhist umbrella organization, is holding a virtual prayer event with the participation of all the supreme heads of the Buddhist Sanghas from around the world. Prime Minister Modi will be delivering the keynote address in the morning. Buddha Purnima celebrations are being held through a virtual Vesak Day owing to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic across the globe. The event is being organized in honor of the victims and the frontline warriors of COVID-19. Prayer ceremonies on the occasion will be streamed live from Nepal's Lumbini, Bodh Gaya in India, Sarnath and Kushinagar, Sri Lanka's Anuradhapur, stupa premises apart from other popular Buddhist sites. Union Ministers Prahlad Singh Patel and Kiren Rijiju will also be participating in the event. Vesak Buddha Purnima is considered the triple blessed day as Tathagat Gautam Buddha's birth, enlightenment and Mahaparinirvan. President Ramnath Kovind in his message on the eve of Buddha Purnima has said, I quote, "On the auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima, I extend my greetings and best wishes to all my fellow citizens and the followers of Lord Buddha all over the world. The message of Lord Buddha inspires us to serve humanity with love, truth, compassion and any way of non-violence. His life and ideals reinforce our belief in the eternal values like equality, harmony and justice. At a time when we are facing an unprecedented crisis in the form of COVID-19, we should come forward to help those in need and thereby follow the path shown by Lord Buddha. May this pious festival inspire us to follow the teachings of Lord Buddha and strengthen the spirit of harmony amongst us." Unquote. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has also wished the people on the eve of the auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima. The Vice President has said, I quote, "Greetings to the countrymen on the auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima, celebrated to mark the Jayanti of Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha inspired humanity to follow the path of truth, righteousness and honesty. His teachings have shown the path of liberating people through spiritual awakening. His message of peace, truth and compassion enlighten the world and is relevant for all times. In these testing times of COVID-19 pandemic, we all need to follow the principles of universal love, tolerance and compassion and extend a helping hand to the needy and the poor. We must also show our gratitude to the frontline warriors who are risking their lives to save others in this battle against COVID-19, unquote. Now, the biggest ever evacuation exercise by air and sea route will begin today to bring back around 15,000 Indians stranded abroad. Under the Vande Bharat Mission, 64 flights between 14 Indian cities and 12 foreign countries will bring back 14,800 people in the first phase. And on day one of the evacuation plan beginning, 10 flights will be operating. 2 flights from the UAE and 1 flight each from Saudi, Qatar, UK, Singapore, Malaysia, US, Philippines and Bangladesh will bring in approximately 2,300 Indians stranded in these countries due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Overall, 14,800 Indians will be airlifted during the first phase of the mission. The Indian Navy has launched Operation Samudra Setu as part of national effort to repatriate the Indian citizens from overseas. The Indian naval ships Jalashwa and Magar are deployed for this operation and will bring back the stranded Indians close to 1,000 persons starting from the 8th of this month as part of phase 1. The naval ships will facilitate their embarkation after requisite medical screening. 2 ships of the Indian Navy have been deployed to repatriate around 2,000 stranded Indian nationals from Maldives to Kochi and Tuticorin. The Indian High Commissioner for Maldives, Sanjay Sudhir, has termed this as the biggest evacuation exercise of its kind from the neighboring country.
COVID-19 pandemic, Government of India has launched its biggest ever global evacuation operation. For Maldives also, the evacuation we will witness in the next few days and weeks will be the largest in our history. I am grateful to Indian Navy to launch Operation Samudra Setu to evacuate close to 2,000 Indians through a virtual sea bridge from Maldives to Kochi and Tuticorin. INS Jalashwa and INS Magar have already been deployed for this purpose. The evacuation will be in 2 phases with 2 ships, first evacuating Indians to Kochi, followed by evacuation to Tuticorin. We are giving top priority to medical cases, to women and those who have lost their jobs. The evacuation exercise will be a big relief for Indians who have been yearning to join up with their families in India.
Air India will be operating special flights from 8th to the 14th of this month for foreigners who are stranded in India due to COVID-19 lockdown. The special flight tickets are available for sale now for people who need to go abroad. The nationals of the destination countries, Indian and foreign nationals who hold valid visa of at least 1 year duration of the country of destination, green card or the OCI card holders can book their tickets from India to London, Singapore and select destination in the US. The entire cost of travel will be borne by the passenger. The railways have run 122 Shramik special trains since the 1st of May up to Wednesday evening and ferried home over 1.25 lakh migrants stranded in various parts of the country due to the COVID-19 induced lockdown. The railways plan to run more trains. Every special train has 24 coaches, each with a capacity of 72 seats. The railways are running special Shramik trains on the request from the concerned state governments for sending and receiving stranded persons. The railways and the state governments have appointed the nodal officers for coordination and smooth operation. Passengers have to mandatorily wear face cover, follow social distancing norms and other precautions. Union Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari has stated that the government will try to resume bus transport based on some guidelines. He said there is a need to resume the transport services as people are stranded.
पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट में बस ट्रांसपोर्ट कुछ गाइडलाइंस के आधार पर शुरू करने का प्रयास सरकार के द्वारा होगा। ये भी कोशिश हम करेंगे क्योंकि एयरलाइंस, रेलवे और बस ट्रांसपोर्ट ये कुछ प्रमाण में शुरू करने की आवश्यकता भी है। काफ़ी लोग इधर उधर के अटके हुए हैं, तो मुझे लगता है ये भी करना होगा। मैं आपको यही कहूँगा कि हिम्मत के साथ हम लड़ेंगे, आत्मविश्वास के साथ आगे जाएंगे। निराशा मत रखिए, निगेटिविटी मत रखिए और इस संकट से हम उभर कर बाहर आएंगे और निश्चित रूप से विजय होंगे।
In some other news now, chemical gas leakage has been reported at the LG Polymers industry in the RR Visakhapatnam village in Vishakhapatnam. People are being taken to hospital after they complained of burning sensation in the eyes and breathing difficulties. Police, fire tender, ambulances have all reached the spot. For more updates, the District Collector of Visakhapatnam is joining us with more inputs on that. Mr. Chand, good morning. What more details can you share with us at this point in time as far as this incident is concerned?
Ma'am, good morning. This incident occurred at about, from the information that we have so far, between about 2:45 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. Post-lockdown, certain industries have been permitted outside the containment zones. As a part of that, LG Polymers has started its operation, and one of the monomer chambers, there was a reaction which went in an uncontrolled manner, leading to the emission of this styrene gas. So this styrene gas is, once it started emitting from the factory premises, it started spreading in the near vicinity or the near neighborhood.
Okay.
In which we have Visakhapatnam village. So whatever immediate action could be taken by the villagers, some of them have used their private vehicles, two-wheelers, and they started rushing in and they victimated us immediately. So we could send in a pool of about 25 ambulances to the spot.
Okay.
And some APS RTC buses also have been rushed to the spot.
Okay.
So all these people have been brought from their houses. Whoever could not immediately move in, we could bring them through the ambulances onto the main road and from there to the hospitals by the RTC buses. So currently we have evacuated most of the people.
Okay.
And we are still searching, an active search is going on if there are any more people or persons left in the village who need to be evacuated. But things, and from the factory point of view now, they have initiated the operation for curtailing these emissions already.
Sure.
So they've assured us that it will take another 1 to 1.5 hours before they can completely. Currently, the concentration levels have come down drastically, but it might take another 1 hour before everything comes to an end from the emissions point of view.
Okay, all right. And we understand, Mr. Chand, that the incident must have led to panic among the people over there. What's the condition of these people? Because we're also getting to know that many of them have, fallen unconscious with breathing difficulties, complaining of breathing difficulties, pain and sensation in the eyes. And, I would also like to ask you, has any cause of this gas leakage been identified as yet?
Yeah, the cause is an uncontrolled reaction. That's the information that we currently have.
Okay.
So now immediate action was taken by the factory to immediately close the reactor and bring it back under control. Some sprinklers were used to bring it under control. So now the chemical reaction has also been controlled, but for it to completely come to a grinding halt, it might take an hour's time.
Okay, all right. All right, Mr. Chand, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
For the moment, in fact, we'll be getting more inputs on that gas leakage that has taken place therein, of course, in the Visakhapatnam village in Vishakhapatnam. People at this point are being taken to hospital. All right, Mr. Chand, if you are still with us, I would like to ask you what are people telling you? Are they still in a state of panic, and are you trying to calm their fears down? Okay, let's go across now to our correspondent Suresh, who's also on the phone line with us. So, Suresh, give us more details, what you're picking up from on the ground, how, the people must be there in a state of panic clearly, and, complaining of these breathing difficulties, a pain really and sensation in the eyes. What are you seeing around you?
Yes, there was some kind of panic in the early hours of this morning. Because of a toxic gas leak from a private company. It's a South Korean company, LG Polymers. Actually, the factory was about to open after the lockdown, as there were some relaxations given to some industries, small scale industries kind of thing. So they were cleaning up the factory, and due to there were no proper safety measurements. As the people say here, the locals, we spoke to some locals, they said that there was it happened because of lack of precautions by the factory themselves. They haven't taken, as it is a chemical company, they have to take some precautions and safety measurements before opening the company.
Okay. And tell us more about this area, Visakhapatnam village in Vishakhapatnam, where this tragedy has taken place. Is this, amidst a residential area? Are people there, in large numbers stay around this industry?
No, actually it comes under suburb of Vishakhapatnam, near Gopalpatnam. It's an outskirts of the city, and it is reported that the gas spread to some 2 to 3 kilometers extent.
Okay.
So there are not many people residing it. Whoever are residing it, they were evacuated by the district administration in the morning itself. Some people were taken to hospital. Some people were evacuated to safer places. As of now, the situation is under control.
Okay. All right. All right, Suresh, thanks very much for joining us. For the moment, you're telling us situation is under control, of course, after that chemical gas leakage that took place early this morning in the wee hours at the LG Polymers industry at the R.R. Venkatapuram village in Visakhapatnam. Of course, we also spoke with the district collector a short while back, and he was telling us it might take around an hour for the things in entirety to come under control, but situation for now has been brought under control, and people have been admitted, being taken to hospital after they complained of breathing difficulties and burning sensation in the eyes. The police, the fire tender and the ambulance all at the spot to make sure that no more damage to people arising out of this chemical gas leakage takes place to the people there in the vicinity. We'll keep getting more inputs on that, but moving on now, for the time being, the operational commander of Hizbul Mujahideen Riaz Naiku was eliminated by security forces in his village in Pulwama district. He's been on the run for 8 years now. The mobile phone services of private operators and mobile internet services across the valley have been suspended. There were 2 separate encounters in which 4 terrorists were killed. One in Sharshali village where 2 unidentified terrorists were killed, and the other in Begapura in Avantipura where Naiku and an accomplice were eliminated. The gunning down of Naiku is a major breakthrough in the fight against terror. It comes after 8 security personnel, including 2 army officers, Colonel Ashutosh Sharma and Major Anuj Sood, were martyred in Handwada. The 35-year-old Naiku carried a reward of 12 lakh rupees on his head. And let's now move on. Once again, our focus to COVID-19, and let's take a look now at the latest numbers of COVID-19 cases across the country. The total number of confirmed cases now stands at 49,391, of which active cases of COVID-19 across the country stand at 33,514. A total of 14,183 people have been cured or discharged so far, taking the total recovery rate to 28.72%. A total of 1,694 people have lost their lives due to COVID-19. Maharashtra continues to be the hardest hit state with total of 15,525 cases. Gujarat has reported 6,245 cases, while 5,104 cases have been reported in the national capital, Delhi. And the World Health Organization has warned that countries emerging from restrictions to halt the new COVID-19 must proceed extremely carefully or risk a rapid rise in new cases. During the news conference, the Director General Tedros also outlined 6 criteria that the organization recommends countries consider before taking steps to reopen, which includes the signs of cases declining and ensuring that health systems are in place to detect, isolate and treat new cases as they emerge. These guidelines from the WHO come as government-ordered lockdowns have become increasingly unpopular as countries suffer rising unemployment and economic activity has ground to a halt. Over 37 lakh persons are confirmed to be COVID-19 infected worldwide, while 2.63 lakh people have lost their lives. US President Donald Trump has described the COVID-19 pandemic as the worst attack ever on the US, pointing the finger at China. Terming it harder than the Japanese bombing of Pearl Harbor in World War II or the 9/11 attacks, the Trump administration is weighing punitive actions against China over its early handling of the virus outbreak. Even the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has renewed his rhetoric against China, accusing it of covering up the outbreak. He stuck by his widely contested charge that there is enormous evidence the new COVID-19 emerged in a Chinese laboratory, even while acknowledging that there is still uncertainty about its origins.
China could have prevented the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. China could have spared the world a descent into global economic malaise. They had a choice, but instead, China covered up the outbreak in Wuhan. Its National Health Commission ordered virus samples destroyed on January 3rd. China disappeared brave Chinese citizens who raised alarms. It deployed its propaganda organs to denounce those who politely called for simple transparency. And that brings us to today.
And since emerging in China at the end of last year, the COVID-19 is confirmed to have infected 1.2 million Americans, killing nearly 73,000. Meanwhile, the New York governor has made harsh criticism of the states that are reopening their economies despite rising infection rates. He urged that such decisions be based on facts and data rather than politics. While data showed New York had turned a corner in the fight against the COVID-19, new cases were increasing in the rest of the country, even as a majority of states have relaxed restrictions on business and daily life. And China has, however, strongly opposed the claims made by the US and urged it to stop spreading false information and to concentrate on its domestic problems. The China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson has made it clear that China has always been open, transparent and responsible in the fight against the pandemic. She added that China has sent a great deal of medical supplies to various countries in a bid to support their fight against the pandemic, and US is one of them. The total number of confirmed cases in China are 83,968, while 4,637 have lost their lives till now. Now, Britain has emerged as Europe's problem child of the COVID-19 crisis. It has recorded over 30,000 deaths, the highest total in Europe, exceeding even Italy. The latest total for Italy, which also records deaths of those who have tested positive for the virus, stands at 29,684. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has pledged to reach 2 lakh tests for coronavirus a day by the end of May. The government must review the lockdown measures by law, but the Prime Minister said that he was waiting until Sunday to announce the government's plans because more data would be then available. Now, in Italy, some of Rome's traffic returned to the streets yesterday, but the city is far from normal after some lockdown restrictions were eased this week. But they are nowhere close to reopening as international vacation destination. The streets of the capital had been empty as people were forced to stay in their homes from early March. Almost 2 months later, Italy started to unwind Europe's longest coronavirus lockdown, letting some 4.5 million people return to work and a relaxation on park visits and small family reunions. The first steps towards reopening have brought back that familiar buzzing of cars and Vespas returning to busier roads. And Spain has extended the state of emergency imposed to combat the coronavirus pandemic for 2 more weeks from the 10th of May, allowing the government to control people's movements as it gradually relaxes a national lockdown. Spain, where more than 25,000 people have died from the COVID-19, has been under a lockdown since the 14th of March. The current extension means the state of emergency will conclude at midnight on 24th May. Although the situation is improving, the Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said it is necessary to maintain some restrictions on movement to keep the infection at bay. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.